Now, Lil Peep is a rapper who a lot of people recognize. He was a 21-year-old artist born in Allentown, Pennsylvania, who grew up in Long Island, New York. With an American and Swedish roots, he became an extremely popular name in the underground rap scene. Lil Peep started releasing music in 2013 under the name Trap Goose on SoundCloud, experimenting with raw, unpolished tracks that showcased his unique blend of rap and emo influences. Later, he rebranded to the name that the world eventually come to know, Lil Peep. By 2015, his music began gaining attention online, fueled by his distinct sound and deeply relatable lyrics, and it wasn't long before tracks like Star Shoppin' started catching traction, cementing his status as a rising star in the underground music world. In November 2017, right before he was about to break into the mainstream world of music, Lil Peep sadly passed away due to an accidental overdose on fentanyl-laced Xanax. His untimely death shocked fans and the music industry, as he was on the cusp of becoming a global sensation. It also brought attention to the dangers of drug use in the music scene and the mental health struggles that he often expressed through his music. Lil Peep's story made national headlines and sparked an important conversation about addiction, not just in general, but more specifically within rap culture. He openly discussed his struggles with substance abuse in his music, creating a profound connection with listeners who related to his raw honesty and vulnerability. It was this authenticity, combined with his unique sound and genre-blending style, that garnered him a dedicated fanbase. Lil Peep was more than an underground icon. He was an artist who was destined to become a major force in the mainstream, with a level of talent and emotional depth that set him apart from his peers, which is why his story hits so hard. Like so many young rappers who tragically passed away far too soon, Lil Peep's death was devastating. However, the silver lining is that his legacy has only grown stronger over time. It's almost unbelievable to see an artist who was relatively unknown to the general population during his life gain so much fame after his passing. While many say this is common for artists who die young, I'd argue it's often fleeting, short-lived hype that fades away as time goes on. But things are different for Lil Peep. About a month ago marked the 7-year anniversary of his death, and fans were still remembering and celebrating his legacy. They reflected on the ways his music touched their lives, sharing tributes and stories about how deeply they connected to his lyrics. Unlike others whose fame diminished over time, Peep's influence continues to resonate, cementing his place as a cultural icon who left a lasting imprint on both music and his fans' hearts. He was just a young kid living out his dreams, releasing music on the internet, and managing to garner a passionate fan base through his raw vulnerability, genre-blending style, and relatability. Peep's music resonated deeply with people who felt misunderstood, and that emotional connection laid the foundation for his enduring legacy. Around this time of the year, you see a lot of artists posting their Spotify Wrapped stats, celebrating how much their music was streamed globally. While Lil Peep wasn't on any of the major lists, dominated by artists like Drake, Kanye West, Future, Kendrick Lamar, Travis Scott, his influence still remains undeniable. Peep's streams are still climbing, thanks to his loyal fanbase, keeping his music alive, introducing it to new listeners. His impact can't always be measured by mainstream recognition. It's felt in the underground scene, in his fans' devotion, and in the countless of artists who cite him as an inspiration. However, Lil Peep's mother, Liza Womack, ended up posting his stats for the year, revealing that Lil Peep racked up over 2.2 billion streams on Spotify. This actually marks his most popular year to date, which genuinely surprised me, because I hadn't been keeping up with everything surrounding his name or his estate since the wrongful death lawsuit that was settled in early 2023. Over time, Lil Peep's name has only grown stronger in both influence and numbers. He's become more popular year after year, with his streams consistently climbing since 2017. What makes this so remarkable is that we're talking about an artist who passed away over 7 years ago, a significant time in an industry that often moves on so quickly. Typically, when rappers pass away fully before breaking into the mainstream, we see an initial spike in attention right after their death, but that momentum usually fades as the years go by. Lil Peep's case, however, defies that trend. His influence hasn't just lingered, it's expanded, solidifying him as a lasting figure in music culture, whose legacy continues to resonate deeply with his fans. There honestly aren't many rappers whose death has single-handedly propelled them to extreme success, no matter what people say. Take XXXTentacion and Juice WRLD, for example, two artists whose success is often attributed, at least in part, to their untimely deaths. While it's true that their passing brought them additional attention, it's important to remember and recognize that both of them already had significant momentum while they're alive. Their deaths didn't create their fame. Instead, it put a brighter spotlight on their existing influence, showcasing them in a way that their lives might have not fully allowed. Lil Peep in particular has faced a lot of unnecessary hate throughout the years. Unlike many artists, he wasn't a controversial figure, didn't rely on gimmicks, and wasn't motivated by attention-seeking antics. His success was purely fan-driven, a grassroots movement so loud that the world couldn't ignore it. This says a lot about his unique influence, which I believe operates in a quieter, more understated way. The majority of his audience exists in their own world, disconnected from much of the mainstream rap scene, which is why so many people might be surprised to hear that he's pulling in numbers like 2.2 billion streams. It's the out of sight, out of mind effect. If you don't see it in front of you, it's hard to believe it exists. but the same applies to plenty of artists that are popular today. You could stumble across a name selling millions of records and selling out tours worldwide, and just because they weren't on your radar, their success might seem unreal to you. Lil Peep's influence is proof that success doesn't always have to be loud to be impactful. It can be quietly monumental. One of the reasons why Lil Peep received so much negative feedback is that he didn't fit the typical stereotype of what a rapper is supposed to look like. In many ways, Peep seemed like he belonged to a completely different genre, a young white guy with heavy tattoos, a distinct emo punk inspired aesthetic, dyed hair, facial piercings, and a wardrobe blending streetwear with alternative grunge influences. He challenged preconceived notions of what a rapper could look like. To many, he didn't fit the mold of rap, let alone hip-hop. But the truth is, Lil Peep was a storyteller, and his music often conveyed deeper and more personal narratives than what many of the most popular names in rap today are delivering. It wasn't the content of his music that made people mislabel him. It was the packaging, and that's never felt fair to me. Beneath the surface, Lil Peep was doing something many rappers shy away from, being unapologetically vulnerable. He wasn't afraid to expose his pain, his flaws, or his struggles. His music spoke openly about mental health, addiction, heartbreak, and a longing to find his place in the world. It wasn't just about flashy lifestyles or tough personas. It was raw, emotional, and deeply human. Peep expanded the boundaries of what hip-hop could be, and in doing so, he created a lane that was entirely his own. His relevancy to me speaks volumes about the lasting impact of authenticity and how deeply an artist can connect with their audience when they're unafraid to be vulnerable. Sometimes you ponder the question, would his name be where it is today if he was still alive? I would argue that he would probably be even further ahead. The biggest reason for this comes down to his trajectory. Lil Peep was already on a path to worldwide success, steadily gaining momentum with every release. He had the talent, the vision, and the growing fan base to transcend the underground scene and fully establish himself in the mainstream. Had he been here to guide his career, I believe he would have been able to market his music in a much more efficient and impactful way. Being present to perform, collaborate, and engage directly with his fans would have allowed him to further solidify his place in the industry. His unique sound and genre-blending style had the potential to reach audiences far beyond the rap or emo-rap space. Lil Peep wasn't just an artist riding a trend, he was creating a movement. With his dedication and growing influence, it's hard not to imagine him becoming one of the most innovative and defining voices of his generation. His passing left us with what could have been, but even in his absence, his legacy continues to grow, which speaks to just how truly special he was. When an artist dies, their death often becomes sensationalized due to the way the media covers it. But what we need to remember is that their legacy is now entirely carried by the memories of the people who supported them when they're alive, and there's incredible power in that. It's a testament to the bond an artist can create with their audience, one that transcends their physical presence and keeps their art alive. A lot of people don't like to admit that certain rappers who passed away might have been even bigger if they were still here. I think that reluctance often stems from biases against these artists. For some, names like XXXTentacion, Juice WRLD, and Lil Peep don't hold much weight because they didn't recognize the greatness in their art when they had the chance. But you don't have to be a fan to see why they're so impactful. All it takes is acknowledging how many lives they touched and realize they had a unique place in the genre. Their music resonated deeply, provided comfort, and spoke to the struggles that many people face but rarely see expressed in mainstream art. That kind of connection is rare, and it's what makes their contributions to music unforgettable. Their greatness isn't just in numbers or fame, it's in the lasting impression they've left on a generation. When it comes down to it, it's the people who decide what's going to stick, not individuals who choose to dismiss why an artist isn't important. This is especially true for Lil Peep. I wasn't a fan of his music personally, but I admire the connection he had with his audience, how he communicated his message, and the profound impact he left on people. That alone speaks volumes about why his existence was so significant to the world. Any artist who helps others cope with struggles like deteriorating mental health or depression deserve the utmost respect. Openly addressing these issues is still not very common. A lot of mainstream rap today revolves around braggadocious lifestyles, often exaggerated or entirely fabricated stories. In contrast, artists like Lil Peep left their mark by being real, speaking on genuine struggles and creating a space for fans to feel seen and heard. When young artists like him take that risk and leave behind such an honest legacy, it's crucial to recognize their contributions. They're simply rare, and their willingness to use their platforms to discuss uncomfortable truths make their work invaluable. Speaking highly of artists like Lil Peep isn't just about honoring them, it's about acknowledging the importance of authenticity and vulnerability in a world that often shies away from both. A significant part of why Lil Peep remains relevant lies in the emotional impact his music had on his listeners. While I may not personally feel that connection myself, I can clearly recognize it in others through the way they talk about how his music deeply influenced their mental and emotional states. Fans often described how his lyrics addressed struggles with mental health, heartbreak, and feeling misunderstood, offering a sense of comfort and solidarity to those who felt alone in their pain. His ability to articulate these feelings created a safe space where people felt seen, heard, and validated. Lil Peep had a rare gift for making people feel understood in ways few artists can. His openness about his struggles, whether with depression, addiction, or isolation, allowed him to connect with his audience on an intensely personal level. He expressed emotions that many found hard to articulate themselves, and through his music, he gave them a voice they might have not had otherwise. For a lot of fans, listening to Lil Peep's songs felt like having someone say, "I understand what you're going through and you're not alone." That sense of shared experience transformed him into more than just an artist. He became a source of hope and a means of catharsis for those navigating their darkest moments. Even years after his passing, his music continues to resonate, showing just how profound that connection truly was. Finding out these things, it's no mistake that he was able to build such a supportive fan base. At the end of the day, the massive success a lot of artists that are alive amass has more to do with them making a lot of people feel like they can relate to them. That's something Lil Peep did really well, and the fact that he's still relevant in 2024 says a lot about his impact. Anyway, what you guys think about this topic regarding Lil Peep still being relevant in 2024? Do you still listen to Lil Peep's music, or do you not listen to his music? And to all of his fans out there, how strong of a connection do you guys have with Lil Peep after all these years of him being gone? I'm very curious to hear what you have to say, so I'll see you in the comment section below. And by the way, if you enjoyed this video, of course, drop a like on it. And if you're new here, subscribe. Welcome to the family. My name is BlackySpeakz. It's nice to meet you. Catch you guys on the next video. And yeah, peace. I'm out.